From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, financial help is on the way. Once President Trump signs off on the $900 billion stimulus package, funds will begin to flow to needed areas, including those impacted by the pandemic right here in Montana. But tonight, the fight against COVID-19 rages on as county health authorities report another 24 deaths. 4 of those are from right here in Yellowstone County, where the count has reached 154. 6 are out of Gallatin County, and the rest are from the western side of the state. Now, the total Montana victims at this hour has reached 942. Well, tonight, a special report straight from the front lines here in Billings. Nurses who do this every day. They see it, they fight it, and they feel it. Some of them even more than others.
It's like going to war. It's like you're going in there knowing that the department's going to be full, that you're going to have to wait for rooms, that there's going to be people coming in that are sick.
It's really hard right now to be a nurse, really hard. It's exhausting.
And working when people are dying and not their families not being able to come in and visit, just horrid.
From long-term care, the dialysis clinic, and the emergency room. All 3 nurses, all 3 facing COVID-19 head-on.
Every day we see people that come in and then, 2 weeks later they've passed away.
Brad, Shelley, and Sherry share a lot more than their profession. They're siblings who've been battling COVID-19 on multiple levels.
I found out on the 9th, late on the 9th, I was already at work, that my test was positive.
Sherry works at Canyon Creek Memory Care, the first official coronavirus outbreak in Yellowstone County, infecting dozens of people both inside and outside the facility walls.
Went in the front door and down the stairs where I stayed in quarantine.
Despite immediate precautions and isolation, Sherry's 82-year-old mom, who she lived with and cared for, was already infected.
She was disoriented and confused and starting to get a temperature.
And that was horrible, not to be able to come up and help her, to see my mom for the last time before she left the house. And that was the start of it.
The start of more than 3 months of their most difficult days. Their mom, Darlene Foote, entered the hospital alone. And just 6 days later, John, her husband of 35 years, followed.
They were on the same medical floor and didn't see each other.
With both parents critically ill, all 8 children faced difficult decisions.
We had made the decision. We knew that this was, she didn't want heroic efforts at all. We knew she wanted to be around us.
There was no way that I was not gonna allow her to come home. I would have done whatever it took, because I was not gonna let my mom die in the hospital by herself.
We are all so grateful for that time that we had.
We could all be the nurse at that point and all be kids at that point, so we shared the duties.
John finally made it out of the hospital. He made it home, but the damage from the virus plagued his body. And as Brad traveled with him to Cincinnati to be cared for by another sibling, John fell asleep for the last time. So after 105 days, this family was left to deal with the loss of both parents.
1 was a lot, but then 2 close together, that was the hardest. And trying to get John to his daughters. We didn't make it. We didn't make it to our final destination. He did, but we didn't.
Telling their story was not an easy choice. There's deep hurt and feelings of guilt.
I feel like it's my fault that they got it. I just do.
It's devastated our family. Like, we've all lost something.
But all of Darlene's and John's children, nurses and not, agree on a motive, a plea for all people to take precautions.
It's like, no, no, this is not going away. It's real. Please, please, just wear your mask. It's not asking too much.
Humanity is just being kind to other humans. Like, why would you not do one simple thing to protect someone else?
We're all tired and we're all worn out and we all want it to end, but it's not going to. And it's so much easier to be nice and caring. I hope people realize that at some point and make the sacrifices that are needed to get through this.
And shortly after Chief Photographer Paul Humphrey and I did these interviews, Brad contracted COVID-19. The stress it caused his body landed him in the emergency surgery room and forced him out of work for 3.5 weeks. And even though they've all had COVID, all three of these nurses say they will be getting vaccinated. They say this isn't political, don't take it personal, and help protect other people. Well, leaders in the agriculture industry say Montana farmers and ranchers will see significant benefits from the COVID-19 relief and spending package that Congress approved yesterday. The Montana Farm Bureau Federation estimates $13 billion from the $900 billion stimulus package will directly support agriculture. Those leaders say some of the biggest boosts for Montana include more assistance for specialty crop growers and other farmers, along with a major investment in rural broadband service. The bill also includes new grants for smart meat and poultry processors to upgrade their operations. The extension of the Paycheck Protection Program will also help small farmers pay their employees. From Farm Bureau leaders, they say the package will help farmers and ranchers now, but in the long term, the most important thing will be encouraging demand for their products.
Rather than take package like this, we'd rather have the markets available. And so the hurdle is to maintain the trade that we're looking at now and expanding trade opportunities for farmers and ranchers. We produce far more than we can consume. So what's going to drive our price is demand.
Now, the Farm Bureau also highlighted the approval of the Confederated Salish and Kootenai Tribes Water Compact, which they say will create more stability for ag water users. Now, speaking of that water compact, today the chairwoman of the Confederated Salish and Kootenai Tribes is acknowledging the many people who helped craft the settlement over water rights in the Flathead Basin. She's expressing enthusiasm about what the agreement means for water users, wildlife and fish habitat, and the thousands of jobs created in the years to come. The Montana Water Rights Protection Act is a bipartisan effort to resolve the decades-long dispute over the water rights granted under the 1855 Hellgate Treaty. The $1.9 billion piece of legislation heads off litigation and provides a major infusion of money to upgrade the Flathead Indian Irrigation Project from its headwaters to the farms and ranches across the basin. In a press conference this afternoon, Tribal Chairwoman Shelley Fayant gave thanks to the many Montana political leaders as well as the long list of tribal leaders and staff over the years who created what she calls a momentous day for the tribe.
Conclude a very long effort to quantify the water rights of the Salish, Kalispah, and Kasanka people. We chose the path of negotiation, and now we can avoid decades of acrimonious litigation on streams across much of Montana and protect many streams with sufficient amounts of water to ensure that fish can survive.
Now, Fayant says the Tribal Council will meet soon to discuss what process will be used to ratify the settlement. Well, U.S. Marshal for Montana Rod Ostermiller will retire on December 31st after nearly 30 years of service. Ostermiller was confirmed as U.S. Marshal in 2018 by a unanimous vote of the U.S. Senate. He was recommended by Senator Steve Daines and appointed by President Donald Trump. Ostermiller began his career with the service in 1991 and was named the Chief Deputy Marshal for Montana in 2004. The Marshal Service is responsible for arresting fugitives, protecting judges, and transporting federal prisoners. Well, now turning to our future retiree, Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire. Bob, the wind was crazy today, but it's going to get worse tonight.
Yeah, that old wind was already howling like a big dog. 58 miles an hour in the Billings area at 4:53 this afternoon. We're still expecting the winds to get even higher than that. Look at that. That's a high wind warning, including Billings and all of eastern Montana for 55 to 65 mile per hour winds here. It's a cold front that's moving through, and it's bringing a lot of scattered rain and snow showers along with it and some high high winds. Now, out in the western part of the state, it's a winter weather advisory that goes into, stays in effect until 8 p.m. tonight. You can see some of the extra snowfall amounts we're going to see. 1 to 3 up by Great Falls, Missoula, 3 to 5, maybe 1 to 3 inches in the valleys, and 3 to 7 inches of snow up in the higher elevation. So we're looking at some more snow out there. And the big question is any of that going to be coming to the Billings area? And I got to tell you, we've already had our share of snow today. Don't look for too much more. We have a slight chance for a couple of more flurries tonight. We'll talk about that in a few more minutes.
All right. Now, over the past 35 years, Bob McGuire has done more than 26,000 weathercasts. That doesn't even include the hundreds of severe weather alerts. No. And you are now down to less than 20 as you get ready to sign off.
I think we're at 18 now. Yeah. Wow.
On December 31st.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. It's sad to go, but look at this.
Today we found, yes, we did.
Today. It was nice.
We had a way for our current and former staff to say thank you for a job well done. Due to most people working remotely and restrictions on indoor gatherings, we had a drive-by goodbye to Bob. Cars backed up into the street as we shared stories from a distance. In typical Bob fashion, he had the wind howling like a big dog.
Sure did. There's Rob Monaco, our morning director, yes.
A lot of history rolled through the Q2 parking lot today to say thank you, and we appreciate you, Bob.
Yep, had 2 general managers come through. Vic Miller came through and Monty Wallace came through. Thank you guys for that. And a 3rd general manager, John Hurley, came through as well. So it was a wonderful day to see these old friends.
You're going to be missed, Bob.
I'm going to miss everybody here for sure.
Well, up next on tonight's MTN 530 News here on Q2. A new, less invasive method could make it easier and faster to test for COVID-19. We'll tell you all about it. And in sports, Charles in charge. From Africa to Glendive, Montana, there's a new big man on campus at Dawson Community College. We'll meet him in just a bit.